Good morning, Miss Sdoukou.
Good morning, Mr. Ladakakos. Can you hear me? Okay, thank you. Well, I do not wish to comment this gloomy reality, but for the next few moments, I will try to focus on our subject. I will try not to have my mind lost around these developments. So, circular economy. Great. Let me start with my subject. First of all, thank you for the invitation. Congratulations indeed for this initiative and for organizing this workshop. It is true that you have chosen a very special and sophisticated subject, and I have to admit that your topic, your subject today made me feel quite weird because indeed there is some power behind these two concepts, one of wind energy and the other of circular economy. So when you combine, when you marry these two concepts, great power is generated. I'm very glad that we are opening this to public debate. My sense is that this happens for the first time. So we are opening up to the public debate this chapter, the end of life of wind generators, decommissioning and dismantling of wind turbines. Perhaps this is not a mature topic because eventually so far there was not such a demand in our country, and even if we do have a few stations which are approaching the end of life, obviously this is a topic that will concern us in the future. Now, listen, I don't think that my comments will have any added value for today's event because I'm not familiar with the subject. But I'm very glad to see that you have invited my dear friends and colleagues, Manolis Grafakos and Petros Varelidis, who are the experts on this topic. And you have also invited Giles, who definitely will convey the experience and the practices applied worldwide. Now, if I can say a couple of words, I would like to focus on two or three constants, elements that highlight the need for developing strategies and policies for wind generator recycling. First, we are going to have a big number of wind turbines to be replaced by 2030. This shift to renewable energy sources is a reality today. Yesterday, I intended to look into the topic and look for some figures. This is what I usually do before any speech. So I was looking into some numbers from the latest report of the World Wind Energy Council. I'm not sure if the figures are correct, but in order to achieve the net zero scenario, according to these figures, we need annual installed capacity of wind stations 180 giga by 2025 and 280 by 2030. This means three times more than the annual installed capacity for 2020, which was around 93 gigawatts. And in 2030, the total installed capacity from wind generators will explode, as I understand, from 200 giga up to 743. So the total investment will go up to 1.6 trillion euro. And this is how wind energy will penetrate the world energy mix. Of course, these are international trends, and respectively, Greece is setting its own goals and targets. And as we have said in the ministry, we will revise the targets and upscale the targets. We all know the national targets for the moment. So this suggests that there are favorable conditions for installing a big number of wind turbines in the next years. This is something that makes us happy, of course, but at the same time, we need to be mobilized and we need to act proactively in order to define the course of these generators after their end of life. And the second constant, the second element is that at the same time we have a number of wind energy stations that are approaching the decommissioning stage. And looking into some figures, I've seen that in Europe currently there are 34,000 wind turbines, a total capacity around 36 gigawatt, which are more than 15 years old. Perhaps some of them are more than 20, 25 years old. And many of those turbines are in France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal. And by 2024, of course, you know the figures better. Wind Europe is aware. Around 12,000 more generators will be decommissioned. And every year, around 25,000 tons of blades will approach their end of life by 2025. And this will keep increasing by 2030. Therefore, the conclusion is that this is an issue that is approaching our door, and since 2018, 26 stations have their licenses expired. 200 megawatt is the total capacity. By 2030, this number of stations will go up to 1.5 gigawatt in terms of capacity, in terms of power. And therefore, we have this obligation, the obligation of dismantling, decommissioning around 1,000 wind turbines. So if we do not want to see in a few years piled, abandoned blades all over Greece, which will actually change the image and the positive contribution of wind energy, because it will become an environmental problem. So if we don't want to see that, we have to find ways to reinforce by providing incentives and by a solid framework. We have to boost recycling. And I have seen also studies carried out by Wind Europe. Mr. Dixon, I've seen that we can recycle around 85 to 90% of the total mass of wind generators, from the smaller components up to the foundations, the tower. I'm trying to learn the terms and the names of the components of generators. So it's very important that we are able to recycle the raw materials of such components, for example, steel, which is used for the manufacturing, the construction of the towers, if I'm not mistaken. So this can be reused without losing quality. But I've seen that it's not that easy to recycle the blades, as you have said yourself. It's quite difficult to recycle the blades of wind turbines because they may contain composites which are used for their production. So this is quite a technical topic to me, but it is true that if we want to reach the end of the journey, if we do want to fully develop this sector, we have to find all solutions available for recycling of wind turbines, because this first generation of wind farms is aging and definitely needs to be replaced. Anyway, I consider that this recycling topic is a global challenge with huge dimensions and extensions, social, political, environmental. So I believe that all around the world currently there are laboratories. I do know that there are such labs in the US trying to find methods to correlate the wind energy with circular economy. But we also see gradually synergies growing between industries and technical centers for developing fully recyclable wind turbines. And so, Mr. Ladakakos and all participants, I would like to stress this point. I know that Wind Europe, among others, is also promoting this idea of increasing and improving recycling of composite waste using alternative technologies, recycling technologies. I know that the wind industry has given priority to recycling of old blades, meaning that we need infrastructures and technologies for dismantling, collection, transportation, processing, and so on, and integration into the value chain in general. But I believe that anyway we can find solutions in the course of time. We just need to have goodwill and creative imagination. And let me also remind of your initiative, Mr. Ladakakos, the LTN initiative, because I think that you have turned the metal into benches and decoration in the Christmas village of Trikala. Old blades that were dismantled from some wind energy station, if I remember, from PPC Renewables on Chios. And so what we need is to invest in more research and innovation, in my view, to this direction of extending the recycling technologies for the recycling of composites. And I don't know if this is true, but out of curiosity, let me ask, I've seen that dismantling disassembling a generator of 2 megawatts produces around 25 tons of composite waste. I don't know if this is true. That's why I said that I'm very curious to hear what will be said in this workshop today. I'm curious to learn more than saying. But thanks to this extension of wind parks in Europe, we are going to have around 375,000 tons of dismantled blades in Europe. So we have to find solutions immediately to this direction. Anyway, since wind energy can become a bigger part of a circular economy, this is a critical topic that needs to be given priority. I've been quite long. Thank you very much. Let's listen to the experts.